All right. Ice cream in my mouth. Okay, 3, 2, 1. You ready?
Just check it's live.
Ice cream in my mouth. Welcome back to qualifying from Marrakech, Morocco for round 4 of the EERC Season 6 of Formula E. My name is Edward Hunter. Alongside me is broadcast director Nick Homewood. Apologies for all that disruption as we see Errol Prefect going back to the pits. His time, one Prefect set, let's see, in the TC Racing, a 1:21. So that's about 5.8 seconds off the current pole time. The fastest group time, I should say, from James Juba, 7 tenths ahead of Oliver Paricki in Into the Points. Luca Gray has got himself up to 3rd, ahead of Michael Steffel. I'm currently Nick Conan in 5th. Is the last man that's going to make it through into qualifying. Nick, there's also some information. Joshua Hamilton, one of the drivers that's been knocked out, has had his disqualified from qualifying. We'll have to start from near the back of the grid with a bunch of other drivers who have not set times.
Yeah, Josh forgot to sign up for the race.
Well, that would be quite the penalty then. So that's good news for Juba, of course. The last official points-paying round in Mexico, Hamilton won after a brilliant battle with House Sonneveld, and Juba struggling to 9th after contact with Sonneveld and being hit by Michael Steffel at the beginning as well. But anyway, it looks like Michael Steffel is in a battle to squeeze into qualifying, just coming out ahead of Nick Conan. Just fell short there by about 2 tenths, but Steffel was about only less than a tenth ahead of Luca Gray as well, so it's looking very, very tight behind Pascal Eggert then, as we get ready for, I think, Group 3, or is this Group 4 then, about to come out?
I think this is Group 3.
Yeah, looks like Group 3 then. Bram Coopers, Louis Hartley, Peter Schumann, Stefan Goscht, and Jack Giulimana. I guess the others, we might only have 3 groups, because I think the only ones yet to set a time now are Hamilton and Jerry Van Boezel, who have both been disqualified from qualifying.
Right, where are we? I should finally get on top of something.
This might be the final group then. So just Coopers, Hartley, Schumann, Goscht, and Jordan. I think Louis Hartley will want to watch then. Maybe Bram Coopers, because him and Gashi have been able to set Gashi in 7th at the moment in the other VMS black car. But I think Louis Hartley for Finnevond is going to be the one second the time. Of course, VMS red, not black. They were VMS black last season, which is why I get confused, because the VMS drivers always seem to keep swapping cars, don't they?
Yes, they do. Okay, we finally have a working stream that isn't laggy.
Let's hope it's not too laggy.
No, it looks okay.
It's the best we can hope for.
Looks okay to me.
Not famous last words, but fingers crossed it holds together, because this ice cream in my hand certainly isn't to deal with that hot weather in Marrakech, of course, even though it's middle of October and I'm in the UK and it's pretty miserable and dark.
Today.
Today was actually a pretty good day. I was inside for most of it editing. As there we go, Bram Cooper starts his lap then. Let's see what he can do here. In this last group, it's pivotal that these guys use the better track conditions to get as far up the grid as they can. Bram Coopers then negotiates the first sector, but the first across the line in the first sector is Jack Giulimana and Peter Schumann. A 12.2 for Schumann. 12.0 though for Bram Coopers. So Coopers fastest at the moment. Louis Hartley sets a 12.1. So looking pretty good on this first lap. And Coopers convert this strong pace in the first sector into a decent time overall, though that remains to be seen. Here we go, in the long straight, breaking into that.
Point out, they are allowed to cut that corner during qualifying.
They are. There we go. So good to get confirmation there. 31.9.
Win the wall.
Oh dear. So Cooper's really pushing as he approached the hairpin there. Here we go, onto the long back straight then. Louis Hartley sits a 32.2, so slower than Cooper's in the first 2 sectors then. Peter Schumann's time's not looking too bad either, but here we go. For the final 2 corners now comes Bram Coopers. Where is this going to put him? Is this going to be good enough to sneak into Superpole? Through the final corner, he goes to sort of railroading over the curb and towards the line, and it's 3rd fastest from Bram Coopers. Excellent time there from the VMS red driver, and here comes Louis Hartley, a few tenths behind, sliding through that final corner is the Finnevond, but Cat and the Dutch car with its Scottish driver, he goes only 7th then, so not quite good enough so far. But Bram Coopers Cooper's
Not gonna
knocking.
get another
Oh, I did not enough time then. As Stefan Gosch goes 17th, but just behind Jack Giordamano, who goes 16th. So a good lap by Giordamano to beat Stefan Gosch by about 2/10, I think. Oh no, 3 seconds, sorry. Gosch had a really bad lap there. Looks like Giordamano and Gosch are going to keep trying their laps, but like you say, there's such a long lap here in Formula E terms, of course, 1 minute 15.
Ooh, yeah, that's not going to help your lap time there, Peter.
Oh dear, Pete.
I would expect some steering damage from that.
Yeah, well, Peter Schumann's going to gamely carry on a bit slow. Not a great first sector from Peter Schumann.
Yeah, you can see the wheels a bit bent.
Yeah, and that's going to hurt him all the way down the straight. He is ahead of Tom Dillon at the moment, but can Peter Schumann at least sneak into the top 10? Brown Cooper's slower on this second lap, 33.6 in the middle sector. Here comes Schumann then. Oh, and hits the inside wall, so that's really not going to help. And he's going to spin across the track. There we go, dramatic end to Peter Schumann's qualifying session. Cooper's, is he going to start another flying lap then?
I don't know if he's got time, is he? He's going for it anyway.
Yeah, I think they're about time for free flying laps here. Free frying laps. I mean, it's pretty hot here. There's Giordamano. Oh, uses that setup from to out-qualify Tom Dillon then. For the James Juba sort of shared the setup there, and Jack Giordamano making good use of it there as Cooper goes past the attack mode, which is going to become so crucial in the race. We saw that last year, wasn't it? A freeway battle between Joshua Hamilton and Hau Sonneveld and one of his VMS teammates. So it was Jurakovic, wasn't it? It was Milian Jurakovic.
That was this track always throws up good racing.
It does every season. Also seems that Sonneveld has won every time we've been here. Oh,
Not
there we go. So Cooper's, yeah, certainly he was looking okay in the first 2 sectors, but not anymore. So it's already, as Louis Hartley, while we've been watching that, has actually snuck into 4th position there. So he's just knocked out Luca Gray out of Superpole. So it's going to be Juba, Paricki, and Cooper's, Hartley, Eggert then, I think.
I can hardly believe that.
There we go. Who could have predicted it? But great lap there by Louis Hartley, and not far off, 2/10 off of Cooper's, only just ahead of Pascal Eggert as well. So Eggert is going to get through by the skin of his teeth. Looks like Gosch there. Yeah, there you go. Bambi on ice is the phrase that comes to my mind as Stefan Gosch slides through the hairpin. Can he get it under control? It must be the tyres overheating in this desert heat. What's the temperature? Sunny, 21.9 degrees. Dry, 40.7 degrees Celsius is air temperature.
Right, so he must be on the Superpole now then.
Yeah, just Gosch coming through to finish off his lap. Where will this put him? Will he put him anywhere near Jack Giordamano? No, I don't think so. No, there we go. So, yeah, that's what happens when you just look at the time scale. Eggert is going to come out now for Superpole. Here we go. It will be... You'll have to disregard now the times. It's this is to decide the top 5 of the grid. So Luca Gray down, that's all set then. It'll be Joshua Hamilton at the very back behind Jerry Van Boosel, who didn't set a time, but did sign up, I believe.
Right, I'm going to try and keep a log of the lap time so we know what's going on when it comes to setting.
Good man, Nick. I'm going to keep a hand of this ice cream.
You've got the important job.
Clearly. The big commentator rights there. But as Pascal Eggert warms up the tyres, what's going to go through Pascal's head then? Been ages since Pascal... I don't think he has a pole position. He's gotten near the front row in previous seasons, but he tends to be someone who goes a lot better in the race. So good for Pascal just to get it to Superpole, and as he cuts across in preparation of what he's going to do in the quality lap.
Not allowed in the race.
Yeah, so we shall see. I guess in the quality, I remember 250 kilowatts at their disposal then in these Gen 2 cars. In the future, we will hope to get Gen 3 cars. Currently, the only way you can get the Gen 3 car is through a Lego model that I have made, which is basically a stopgap until Lego's real designers make one. But anyway, here comes Pascal.
Fix the real cars before they hit the track as well.
Hopefully I don't use the same piece for 6 times on the model. But here comes Pascal then, starting his lap. We ride on board then through the first corner. And an opposite lock there as he goes very, very wide through the first corner. That is going to lose crucial tenths of a second then through the first sector. Louis Hartley has come out of the pits behind to start his lap, and that will certainly be a cause for concern. Here we go, through turn 3. Oh, and once again the rear is stepping out, so it's really a twitchy car he's got here then. Through sector 2 he goes. Through the chicane, he comes out.
Best. Not that that means anything anymore.
Yeah, But this is looking pretty decent then in the first sector from Pascal Leggett.
You have to be careful.
Oh, hit the inside wall there.
If you take too much curb, you're on the outside wall. If you take...
Yeah, he's a bit faster in sector 2 though, on personal best. Oh, and once again in the wall, so Pascal really not used to all this extra power.
Away with that one though, somehow.
He did, yeah, somehow. But now it's all down to these final 2 corners. Got to get such a long straight, easy to sort of miss your braking point. But Pascal connects up to the apex very nicely. Just one final corner to go now. Swing it in and see what happens. And once again, the car escaping from me. He just avoids the wall.
Invalidated.
Well, 1:16.790 then for Pascal Leggett. So there's the marker. Louis Hartley coming through now to start his lap. Here we go. Actually, he's a little bit behind. I was a little bit jumping the gun there. But 1:16.790. That's the time to beat us. Louis Hartley really warming up the tyres through the final sector here. But here we go then. And now Hartley, the big opportunity here for the Scotsman. Never been on pole before in Formula E. Could that change today? Here we go into the first corner. Can he get it hooked up a little bit better than Pascal Leggett did? Oh, the rear still stepping away, but a little bit tighter and under control then. As he speeds through to the long turn 2 and into turn 3 then. Yeah, here we go. It's sort of... You have to make sure you spot the apex. It changes, so suddenly you're going for a right-hander and suddenly you're in a tight left-hander. But that's a good first sector then. 12.098 from Louis Hartley. Through the chicane he goes. Still looking on target then as he comes towards the sector 2 split at the end of this straight. But then here comes the chicane and that inside curb, which you will cut liberally. That's a diagonal line there from Louis Hartley there. And through he comes. Another good second sector, 31.762. He's about a couple of tenths off. Oh, but through the hairpin, just about surviving. And he's about 2 tenths off Juba, I think, in the second sector. And pretty even in the first sector. So it's all down to this final sector then. And the final corner to come now. How is this going to end up for Louis Hartley? A little bit, but he kept 2 wheels on, I think. He was a little bit more nailed. And there, 1:16.382. So he's beaten Pascal by about 4 tenths there.
Right, who's up next?
It will be Coopers. Kuipers or Coopers? Well, Bram. Let's hope it's more Bram than Brum. On this occasion. It certainly doesn't look like Birmingham because it's Marrakech, of course.
I was thinking of Brum, the little yellow car.
That's the one I was kind of going for, and I realised. But here we go. Through the first corner then comes Bram Coopers, and it goes very wide. Because, as you say, Nick, he locks up into that first corner. So Coopers are going to be suffering all the way down this straight then. Let's see. 12.363. So that doesn't get us 3 tenths off Louis Hartley's provisional pole time. Oh, very close to the inside there as well through turn 3. Now into the chicanes, 4 and 5. He goes to the inside very early, actually. Yeah, Cooper's really pushing to take risks to catch back up. Now down the long straight. Let's see how much he's going to cut the inside curb. Going to need to cut out that nasty habit. Actually, oh, that was quite neat and tidy and controlled then. Probably not quite as quick as Louis Hartley, though, and the split time's proving it. 31.9. 2 tenths off in that middle sector then. Coopers, he's also got to make sure he beats that 16.790 of Pascal Leggett, doesn't he? If he wants to beat at least one of the Finnebon drivers. 2 corners to go then. Spots the braking point, has a few goes turning in, but just about hooks it up. Now a final corner to go. And it drifts very wide indeed. All 4 wheels off the track there, but Coopers keeps his foot in. What's the lap time going to be? It's a 17.1, so third and last on the grid of those qualified at the moment. Now Perikian gets ready for his lap. Through the final 2 corners he comes. And Oliver Perikian surely got to be one of the favourites for pole position to beat that time by Louis Hartley then. What was it? A 1:16.3, wasn't it?
1:16.382.
Through the first corner we go. Perikian has got that into the points red car. Oh! I was about to say set up very nicely, and then the rear completely stepped down on him.
He got it into the wall.
There we go. Perikian living on the edge then. First sector looks good. 12.045. So he's a little bit ahead of Louis Hartley then. And once again, still looking quite neat and tidy through turn 3. Now into the chicane. Already coasting towards the inside. The second curb he missed and wide on exit.
Yeah, that was a bad
he
exit.
goes.
That will slow him down the whole way down the
Yeah,
straight.
that could cost him a crucial tenth of a second here and there, and that could make all the difference. But the pressure building on James Juba, who will go after this. He cuts to the inside and almost loses control, and lets the rear hit the wall, but somehow avoids disaster. Now into the hairpin he comes. Where is he going to brake here? Quite early, gets it turned in. Nicely done there. That's probably the smoothest hairpin we've seen. Will that be enough to make up time down this back straight then? Here comes into the points number 2. Perikian going down the straight, braking as late as he dares, turning in, and it's almost like he's turning in and hoping for the best here, isn't it, Nick? But through the final corner he comes.
Too much curb there, I'd say.
Here we go. What will the timing screen say? 1:16.2, just ahead of Louis Hartley then. So that's the provisional pole time, and it's only Juba now who can beat him to pole position. So who's it going to be, Juba or Perikian?
Juba.
Here we go. I'm certainly hoping so, but a little bit wide. He's got it under control there, comfortably clear of the wall there, as he starts what will be a crucial flying lap then. The final one to come in Super Pole. He comes to the inside line into turn 1. Oh, leaving himself plenty of space to work with there and getting right close to the wall.
That's how you lap in Formula E.
Yeah, here we go. Juba, of course, the Season 1 champion. Nearly won it in Season 2, I believe, as well, and had a long high. He doesn't. Oh, the rear stepping out a little bit trigger happy on the throttle there from James Juba. That first sector, 12.057, so he's a little bit slower than Perikian so far, but let's see what the tail of the tape, what Sector 2 says. He powers towards it. Here comes that chicane. So crucial not to mess up here. And he takes very inside line, almost losing the rear. But keeping it. Oh, there we go. Just about threading between the barriers there. And that is a 31.6. So he's a tenth faster than Perikian in Sector 2. So it's all or nothing as he just hits the wall and exit there from the hairpin, Nick.
Watching this between my fingers. It's definitely
there we go. I'm watching from behind the sofa. It's my car that's going to get smashed up here if you're not careful. Oh, just over the inside curb. One corner to go then. Do or die for James Juba. Can he beat that time from Ollie Perikian? Towards the timing line he comes. It will be a 1:15.7. There we go. Pole position for the number 18. I didn't realise he was using number 18 until now, but there we go.
So it's James, Ollie, Louis, Pascal, Bram. Indeed.
Wow, what a qualifying session there. And a well-earned bit of ice cream for pole position. Anyway, Nick. Couldn't resist, I'm sorry. Very professional commentator here. But what a grid we've got set up here. Joshua Hamilton and Van Boosel, of course, will be fighting through from the back for into the points and VMS Sun Edits respectively. And we know how quick those guys can be. But certainly, it's a tables turned moment for Hamilton and Juba from Mexico, certainly. And Juba, of course, beat both of one in the aborted New York race that didn't count for points in the end. Lots of disconnections for the other drivers. Current championship leader before drop scores is Alban Gashi, who, of course, will start in the top 9, sorry. Yeah. I forgot the Cooper's beam. Great effort by Cooper's there to beat almost beat Eggert and get into Super Bowl, even though his lap in the end wasn't the quickest. But certainly big opportunity for Hartley and Eggert to score big points for Finnavon today, or even a podium.
We'll have to see as well how
but
far
you've got the likes of
up.
Luca Gray behind them as well, could be a big challenge, as will Michael Steffel, of course. And then the underdogs, the likes of Jack John Amana, Tom Dillon, looking to improve on their best finish. Tom Dillon climbed to 6th in Mexico, of course, which was his best result so far. So he'll be there. We go. Grid being set up then, Nick, and this is where it all gets very exciting because no one knows what exactly is going to happen in that first corner. We've seen it pretty clean in sim racing, but in real life we have seen a few dive bombs up the inside, haven't we, over the years?
We have, yep. And the race isn't won in the first corner, but it could definitely be lost.
Yeah, just ask James Juba out of Mexico.
Well, let's hope we don't have a repeat of that.
Well, I'm sure Oliver Perikian will behave himself if he knows what's good for him.
Yep.
Mr. Hartley, of course, looking for that first win, as is Perikian. And Eggert. Here we go. The timing coming down then. So the light's coming off, and we'll be going in Mexico any second now. Marrakech, sorry. And there we go. Juba gets a great getaway, but Perikian still alongside almost in the mirrors, and he breaks really late into turn one, goes very, very wide, and indeed loses out a bit on exit there. But everyone gets through pretty cleanly. Giordamana gets fighting with Schumann for 11th then. And through they go into turn one. A big lead for Juba already. Hartley holding on to third from Eggert. And then it's Coopers and Gray with Gashi and Steffel fighting over 7th position behind them. But all very bunched together as you'd expect. Steffel.
Oh, into the back of him.
Making contact with the back. And one the Finnerbon spins. That must be Peter Schumann.
That is... I can't click on him. He's going as Conan, I think.
It's Nick Conan. Oh, dear. And it's all getting very mixed up here. Dylan, Giordamana side by side with... It looks like Van Boosel here is making good progress. Where on earth is Mr...
Hamilton's 12th already.
Yeah, Hamilton up to the top 12 there, with just ahead of Van Boosel there. So Dylan already losing out there to Jerry Van Boosel, and not able to help his teammate Perikian up too much at all. As there we go, another move from Hamilton up ahead past Peter Schumann, I think.
Side by side.
Here we go. Who's going to get the best run? Is all that looked like Gashi having a little think about getting a move on Michael Steffel, but Hamilton not quite able to get past Peter Schumann. Schumann a tougher nut to crack then, and this could be the big fight then for Hamilton and Van Boosel. For Lahoven, sorry. There's so many Finnerbons, it's a bit hard to keep track in like every championship, and they're all like the big orange and black blob on this low resolution stream on your computer that I'm looking through, Nick. But anyway, Perikian holding off Hartley now as Juba starts to build the gap, and it could be that he doesn't use attack mode until later on, but he might go for an early one here, you never know.
Attack mode, I believe, is 3x3. So 3 times 3 minute activations.
Well, it's good to know because I never look up before the race.
Let me just double check that.
But anyway, Juba, not quite a great exit there actually. And
4 by 2 minutes, so 4 activations of 2 minutes each.
There we go, 2 minutes. So 0.7, he's still within about a second, is Oliver Perikian, but only just at the moment. And there is Lahoven, now trailing Joshua Hamilton in that number 1 card, the joint reigning champion with House Sonneveld. Now he goes after Schumann. So there we go, I got them two of them mixed up. Is that Gashi going for a move on the inside of Michael Steffel through the hairpin? Not quite able to pull it off just yet. But the VMS Red driver certainly trying his luck here. He's got that, and then we've got Gray attacking Coopers ahead of them. So both the VMS Reds in the thick of the action up the front. Remember,
it gets a bit wide. You got a bit of a slapper on there.
Yeah, remember Joshua Hamilton, he can't afford to use up too much energy in this early phase because that could really hurt him later on, couldn't it?
Yep. And this is a reasonably tough track on energy as well, or it was last season.
Yeah, I wonder if Josh Hamilton might go for an early attack mode. Is all the rear twitching out there as Tom Dillon up the inside of that must be Lahoven. Oh no, it's Schumann, is it?
Conan.
It's Nick Conan, of course. There we go. So Tom Dillon still alongside as they go towards turn 3. And is one of them going to go? No, he's had to back out there. So Tom Dillon, discretion, the better part of valor there, as Dillon and Giordamana back down to 15th and 16th in the order then, with Hamilton and Van Boosel making their way through the order gradually. But Juba, meanwhile, up front, 1.1 seconds over Oliver Perikian, and a fastest second sector of the race so far. Fastest lap 1:18.9 on the previous lap. But here we go. It looks like Eggert also keeping Louis Hartley pretty honest in this early phase. The two Finnerbons may well work together to maximise their result. Let's hope we don't see what we saw in the previous season of Formula E with the two Tachitas fighting each other out, play out with the rather than the black and gold, the black and orange team. Maybe arguably not as glamorous colours, but certainly the Finnerbon team still existing, whilst Tachita probably having to miss a season due to lack of funds. No such issues here for the Dutch team. I
believe these two are actually racing for the same team this round, so team orders are
exactly, yeah, that's what I was just thinking of as well, yeah. But Perikian, of course, will be helping out Joshua Hamilton as well if he can get in front of James Juba later on. There is Josh Hamilton closing on Peter Schumann. Schumann, of course, definitely in better form of late after winning the Imola round of British Touring Cars last season. He definitely feels like Schumann is I remember last time we came to Marrakech, he had a pretty awful round, so he's definitely holding on to that 10th position at the moment, just behind 10 Lua. As we look at Perikian, starting to lose a bit of touch as the gap extends to 1.6 to James Juba. Fastest first sector, though. about a tenth faster, but Juba fighting back
These
in
two
sector
are getting
2.
quite close.
Oh.
As the auto director is having a rough fight with me. Let me turn him off.
Is that Cooper's that I was just interested in for some reason? Is Eggert closing? Now, do you think Louis Hartley will let Pascal Eggert through here?
No.
Because, they have got... who's that behind them? It would be Cooper's, of course.
Yep.
Who isn't too far behind, so I don't think they can afford to hold each other up too much.
Juba,
But
new best lap, 18.7.
yeah, so he continues his good form here. The lap times, Eggert was about a tenth slower than Hartley the previous lap. Luca Gray, Michael Steffel, and Peter Schumann set personal best.
I would expect attack mode from someone this lap.
Here we go. Big gap for Larhoven to come into if he wishes to. Also, Michael Steffel might as well. Decent gap for him as well.
There we go. Kuiper's attack mode.
Oh, there we go. So it is Bram Coopers who pulls the trigger first then. So he will lose a bit of time to Eggert, but still emerge ahead of Luca Gray by just about a second.
Whoa! Wasn't expecting that extra power coming out.
No, he wasn't. Yes. They don't often train using attack mode, do they?
And it's a big boost. There's a bigger boost in these cars than previous years.
Looks like Garrett Gibson going for attack mode, a builder of a lot of these Formula E tracks as well. So Gibson will be looking to catch back up to Jack Giornamano then. In the battle for 16th position as the icon goes down. And one of the... That's Steffel attacking Luca Gray then.
Literally attacking.
Yeah, trying to assault the side of. We've seen that move before from Michael Steffel with disastrous consequences. So Steffel just getting out in time, and Luca Gray lives to fight another day then. But of course, Luca Gray, who was leading the championship after London, of course, lost it after his retirement in Mexico. So Luca Gray will be looking to get a better result here then after a good start to the season with 2 top 5 finishes, as Eggert now really challenging Louis Hartley. Louis Hartley looking like he's conserving energy or perhaps struggling for pace at the moment.
Pascal might take attack mode while he's still got that gap behind, as there's a yellow flag.
Here we go. Do they go to the outside? No, neither of them do. Dylan in trouble, and he's hit the wall at the final corner then, and 3 wide they go to avoid him. That's Gosht and 2 of the...
and he's ended up in the pit lane.
Here we go. So Tom Dillon will pit for repairs then, and that's not what the number 72 owner of Arena Game Studios, of course, as we see 2 more drivers enter attack mode.
Juba's in attack mode.
Yep. Juba in attack mode, as is Coopers and Gray and Steffel now as well.
As Gashi's about to come under attack from Schuneman and Hamilton, who hasn't been able to make any...
I would not want to see either of those two in my wing mirrors, that's for sure. So Alban Gashi, current championship leader, under real pressure here then. But it is pretty wide open in the championship at the moment. But Juba looking to make amends for a difficult last 2 points-paying races, of course.
I don't think Gashi has had a drop score yet as such, has he?
No, he's finished every race, although New York would have been the exception had it counted. But Gashi looking to continue his point-scoring streak as, that looks like Lua going off in front of him at the final corner, but just about collecting himself, nearly doing what I'm assuming Tom Dillon did. He hit the wall.
Gray and Steffel are side by side.
Here we go. Can Luca Gray just about get under control? He makes contact with the side of Michael Steffel. These two, very similar liveries car, but the 360 got a slightly better run out, and Luca Gray holds on to that 6th position. Both of these men in attack mode, of course, as that looks like Juba about to run out. So what's the gap to 3.3 to Perikian? Perikian might need to do something to catch up here, but make sure he doesn't fall into the clutches of Louis Hartley. This is all going Juba's way at the moment.
It is. You just got to keep it clean.
And
the next 36
Gray and Steffel, no such luxury for them. They can't just afford to keep it clean because they really, both of them fighting for that 6th position. And behind Steffel is that Lua in the other into the points blue.
The energy remaining thing isn't working, so can't look at that today.
Well, we'll have to guess then, because it's only going to be the driver stream. We'll be able to see Josh Hamilton's stream, how much energy he's got. But the others, it's a bit of a mystery there. So lucky dip. And we could see someone just rapidly... It's always a surprise when they run out, because we're not really paying attention too much to the energy until the final stages. But now it's going to be even more of a surprise, because the graphic has completely buggered itself. As did Luca Gray go a bit wide at that final corner there? Because Steffel looking a bit closer, than he did before.
R-Fact is really not showing its best side off the last few races.
Yeah, we don't have energy on the live timing either, unfortunately, so we'll have to work with what we got.
Hasn't been a factor in the last few races, so with any luck...
Yeah, Josh Hamilton right behind Alban Gashi is clear Peter Schumann, by the way.
As Gashi takes attack mode.
There we go. So that makes it a little bit easier for Hamilton. Lua going into attack mode is emerging just in front of Josh Hamilton. So he'll aim to build a gap.
Hamilton is only 13 seconds off the lead. He could still quite easily finish on the podium.
Good. And that's a big worry in terms of the championship. But Josh Hamilton showing his class. In ninth at the moment, he's still at 34 minutes to make his way through the field and really riding the curb there as he avoids the wall very gracefully. As Stefan Gosch going into attack mode.
There.
Oh, big spin for Luca Gray, and he holds up Lua and almost squeezes Hamilton into the wall. But Hamilton, lucky escape there, as for Michael Steffel too.
3 free positions for him.
Yeah, bit of a careless mistake there by Luca Gray.
Yeah, I would imagine he'll receive a penalty for that post-race.
And he just about, is that Luca Gray or... No, Steffel just about clearing Gashi. Luca Gray just about clearing Gashi behind him, isn't it?
So Steffel was actually the worst off from that because he's gone from 6th down to 10th.
Yeah, because he got really badly held up because he was first on the scene fighting Luca Gray, wasn't he?
I think they might literally be fighting after this one's ended.
Yeah, are you sure Luca Gray is not in the employ of Into the Points?
Spin at the back.
Oh dear.
It's Peter.
It's Peter Schumann. Oh dear. And he's going to block his teammate there. Oh, and he almost reverses into... Was that Van Boosel? He nearly hit there. Oh my goodness me. Jerry Van Boosel having a bit of a baptism of fire. This is the first race he's shown up to. And he's starting to wonder why he came, I think. As Lahoven goes into attack mode in 11th. As does 10 Lewis about to run out. As is Gashi. Oh, and Gashi struggling to put the power down there cleanly. But somehow surviving after all that incident and excitement ahead of him. But he wasn't quite able to catch Luca Gray even with all that extra power. So yellow in sector 2. Is that Schumann in more trouble? But doesn't look like it.
Not got anything on my...
Might be Gibson because he's dropped behind Giordamano there, as is Prefect. Gibson continuing on then for TCS Racing. Eggert been about 0.6 of Louis Hartley still. And... Hartley about 1.1 behind Perikian, so it's sort of nip and tuck for Perikian if he goes into attack mode, isn't it, right now?
Yeah, the gaps have been quite consistent up the front for a while, except Zuba, who's decided he's going to drive to...
Well, he's kept it fairly steady. It's just gone to just under 4 seconds now. It was Lure and Hamilton setting up their personal best time laps at the moment.
I think Hamilton is the quickest on track at the minute, isn't he? Now he's got a bit of clean air.
Yeah, 1:19.6 last lap from Juba, 1:19.3. And 1:19.5 from Lure and Hamilton and Lure respectively.
But they've got 4 seconds until they catch up to Kuipers, so they're going to be...
plenty of clean air.
Lure gets a bit of a...
Yeah, I think 10 Lure could be really under attack from Josh Hamilton then. All that extra power, nothing without responsibility, is it?
Is in attack mode.
There we go, so Pascal... Now, surely, this would be the moment where Louis Hartley would not fight too hard down the straights, you would think.
You'd think so, wouldn't you?
Yeah, Pascal always a bit insisting the other teams don't collude with one another, even if Frinavond own 2 or 3 teams. But these two genuine teammates for Frinavond is green, is it? Or is it Frinavond white?
Green.
It is green, there we go.
Yeah, even though Hartley's car is blue because he started off the season.
Look at Pascal, really putting the power down. And laying down some rubber at the final corner. And Pascal Eggert squirming, squirreling, using that extra power to full effect. Here we go. Big drift into the first corner. And that's going to actually lose him time. So attack mode. Good down the straights. Not so great through the corners if you're not got a soft, delicate right foot, essentially.
Hartley looks like he's closer to Perikian.
Oh, is that Hamilton? Is that Gray and Steffel fighting, I think, again?
No.
There was someone, I think Lahoven and Gashi actually, because Gashi's dropped behind Michael Steffel now. Josh Hamilton within 0.5 of 10 Lure and Perikian and Eggert within, as Eggert, Hartley, all both within about 0.7 of each other. So it's looking very tough in that fight for second.
Yeah, Perikian's lost quite a lot of time. He's 0.6 ahead of Hartley now.
Something could be wrong with that car then. It might be he's gone for an attack mode attempt and missed it.
He hasn't got... let's have a look at his steering, shall we?
Has he hit the wall somewhere potential? No, all looking good. So he must have just made a mistake then.
Or he might be short on energy and trying to recover a bit.
Or he may have pushed too hard to keep Juba within a sight. Through the final corner. Oh, it's certainly not for want of trying then. I think there's been just a mistake there. And under huge pressure from Frinavond, Oliver Perikian is going to be in a real fight there to hold on to that runners-up spot. But the more he backs these two, the more that might help Hamilton later on. Hamilton still fighting with 10. Lua, a very capable driver who's finished on the podium here before for Iris. No team orders, of course, because they're in different coloured into the points cars. We go into 30 minutes remaining then. So it's quite a lot of action down the field, but top number one, it's not really been in too much doubt recently, has it?
Nope.
Oh, look at this. Eggert's got a good run here. Is Louis Hartley going to leave the inside open? Let's hope we don't see another teammate Ferco. Of course, the BMW Andretti, Alexander Sims and Antonio Felix da Costa crashing here a few seasons ago. In 2018, I think. It was disastrous for that team and arguably cost them a 1-2. But Louis Hartley then under pressure as Jubra is he lapping or about to lap Tom Dillon then?
I think we got a yellow flag.
Yeah, he's lapped Dillon, so that's a big breather then, big breathing space there for James Jubra.
DNFs.
Oh dear, so Schienemann has hit the wall and it's terminal, unfortunately for the number 69 Finnevond. As Juba there has got Dillon will still be able to help him ever so slightly, but a lap down now, unfortunately, after his crash. And this was Schumann out. Dillon isn't going to finish dead last.
You still get points.
Looks like Eggert about to come around the outside then, which becomes the inside into turn 3. And there goes Louis Hartley wide into attack mode. So tactical driving there from Hartley then.
The attack mode isn't very long here, so he's got to, if he's going to make a move, he's got to do it quick.
Yeah, there we go. So Perikian, though, will still be feeling under pressure then. But Eggert on a bit of a charge, using the best of that attack mode. Last lap for Eggert was 120.3, though. So he's really been held up behind Perikian and Hartley. At least Hartley won't be troubling him too much longer, unless Eggert isn't able to pass Perikian before running out, in which case the positions will reverse again quite soon, I think.
This is where Hartley will gain the most time, because it's all straights.
And it must be so disheartening for Perikian, because he'll see Tom Dillon closing up to him and think, yeah, great, I'm catching James Dupe. And it's, oh, no, wait, it's Tom Dillon.
What's happened to Lahoven?
Oh, dear. Joop Lahoven down to 12th then, behind Conan, his teammate.
Hartley isn't actually, he's actually dropping back with the attack mode.
Oh, Hartley may have got a bit too much wheel spin then at the final corner. And now Pascal Eggert. Oh, is he going to go around the outside? Oh, but once again, the power against him as Van Boosel drops behind Lahoven. So Van Boosel not having a great race at all.
As Juba takes attack mode.
There we go. Second attack mode for James Juba. Then as Eggert right in the gear, in the diffuser almost of Oliver Perikian. So yeah, Perikian, of course, we saw him beaten in Mexico. And we're about to see him put down to the third step of the podium here in Morocco. But can Eggert do it before his... he's already run out of attack mode, so he won't be able to do it then. But certainly, he's looking more confident. Oh, really cutting across the curve and risking a corner cut there. And so, squirrely is the back end of that second Finnevond in the background here as Eggert sets himself up for the hairpin. Doesn't get the amazing exit.
It's really not helped Hartley at all. He's not been able to make any progress in the 2 minutes. And he's now out.
Really, no. And effectively lost track position to his teammate Pascal Eggert then. So Louis Hartley has shown some great pace, but still got a thing to learn about Formula E, it would seem, at least around this Marrakech circuit. As Eggert really getting in the wake of Oliver Perikian and the rear snapping away from him ever so slightly. So that's the problem. Oliver Perikian is holding up well against this pressure, and don't get me wrong, it's immense pressure here from Pascal Eggert as he again twitches on the exit of the first corner. And let's Perikian fight another day then.
Hamilton and Lua are quite close now as well as Perikian takes attack mode.
It was probably about time sooner or later, and he waited.
Activate it though.
Oh no! So a big mistake there from Oliver Perikian, and that could well have handed second place to Pascal Eggert.
Takes attack mode.
Here we go. So we're about to see some great lap times from Joshua Hamilton. He has been stuck behind 10 Lua for quite a while. His progress has slowed somewhat.
Oh, as he hits the wall.
Oh dear. Joshua Hamilton can't afford to do that too many times, at least not too hard. As not the stablemate, but certainly one of the sister cars as Hamilton cuts across the curve viciously and somehow maintains control at turn 7. But Hamilton is about to close on Lua, and surely with all that extra power, Hamilton knows how to use it more than most, you think, after winning the championship last season.
Yeah, it's still pretty close up at the front as well.
Yeah, keep your eyes on that battle too. 0.6 and 0.8 separate Perikian from Eggert and Perikian from Hartley in that battle for second place. Juba, meanwhile, sets a personal best final sector of the race, 32.8.
18.5. It's a second quicker than anyone else has managed this race.
And it's still a few free temps off his best lap of the race so far as well, as Hamilton now right behind 10 Lua. Can Lua do anything here to keep Joshua Hamilton at bay?
He's made a mistake. He's about 2 seconds back now.
Oh, and that's 10 Lua going for attack mode, so that gives the position to Joshua Hamilton, and it's crucial that Lua doesn't lose too much time here. But that's Joshua Hamilton up to 6th then. Crucial points in the championship at the end of the day here on offer for Josh Hamilton. And he has to be said, he's kind of in this position because he sort of forgot to sign up, really. It's a bit of a silly mistake.
He's now only 5 seconds behind Eggert. Oh, that's
and that's rear damage there. Completely over the curb. Too risky by Josh Hamilton. And I'd be very surprised if the rear axle isn't knocked out of alignment there. But this is a tough old Formula E car, isn't it?
Oh, no, I think he's got away with it. Maybe slightly.
Wow. But anyway, looks like, is that somebody else in attack mode as well behind him as well?
Or is that just taking attack mode?
Of course, Lua. Yeah, sorry, because the name's pixelating, so I'm trying to figure out and go back to the timing screen to figure out who that is.
A lot running on my internet today.
Okay, fair enough. But I'll do the best I can then. 22 left in the race then, and Juba still leading by 11 seconds over. This is a Sonneveld-like performance we're seeing Juba pull out here, although he's just lost a lot of time to Pascal Eggert. 6.3 now, the gap. So I'm not sure quite what happened there, but it's gone back up to 9 seconds.
Maybe an issue in the timing.
So Juba looks under control. Big gap behind them.
Is now catching Hartley. He's only a second behind.
Yeah, Louis Hartley, he may have damaged the steering, you know, because that's what happened at Mexico.
Oh, dear.
Oh, dear. Gosh, and one of the TCS cars, that must be Errol Prefett, getting into trouble with him at the hairpin and getting back through then. So I think Gosh giving the position back. All of them in a great fight with Giordamana and that must be Gibson in front of them.
Yep.
A great little scrap here for 14th position.
Is this little scrap is going to
Are they about to hold up Juba? Yeah. Oh dear. Well, Giordamana will get out of the way not too shabbily, you would think.
Straight apart, no?
Yeah, here we go. So Juba too far up the road for his own good, it would seem. But Oliver Perikian still in vain trying to catch back up to...
Tom Dillon's being lapped, is it?
Yeah, they've lapped Tom Dillon. Dillon going very wide at the final corner again, but it looks like he may have just about gone away with that. But into the clutches of Louis Hartley he goes. And as you say, Bram Cooper's only about 1 second behind Louis Hartley now. Oh, and Joshua Hamilton closing inexorably on all of them now that he's cleared 10 Lua. As Juba goes into his third attack mode. He's got 4 at his disposal, so 1 more after this one. Are any of these guys going to go for it? Looks like Pascal going for it. Pascal Eggert going into attack mode as
he keeps the place.
Oh, there we go. So good strategy from Finafon to hold off, and that's Oliver Perikian ruining that missed attack mode. Oh, here we go. Prefett side by side with Stefan Gosch. We know how this one ends. The previous lap was anything to go by, but Prefett gets out of it this time, and Gosch holds on to 16th position. Meanwhile, looks like Cooper's in attack mode. 0.5 now behind Louis Hartley. Louis Hartley under a lot of pressure then. So is Pascal Eggert, to be honest.
To me here, the attack mode gives you so much extra power and so little grip. You just cannot get the power down, so it's actually no quicker. It's slower, if anything.
A little bit, yeah. Well, I think it... Oh, here we go. Cooper's using the attack mode then. As you say, it's so much slower. As Cooper's used it to go all the way around the outside of Louis Hartley at the penultimate corner.
Is Cooper's in it?
He is. It was. He just ran out, I think, just before the end of the straight. So he had just enough to overcome Louis Hartley, and this is where we might see Louis Hartley fight back. You speculated earlier he was saving energy. I think he might be struggling a little bit here, but Josh Hamilton then will soon be joining the party in that battle for 4th position.
If only we had the energy information.
Yeah, it would be insightful, but there we go. So it's one of the many things not working this race, as is that Josh Hamilton. No, that's
it's Hamilton.
Louis Hartley. It's Louis Hartley going into attack mode, so that lets Hamilton just eke through into 5th position. He's got the inside, but Louis Hartley will try to go around the outside and cut the chicane. So he'll have to let Hamilton keep the place, and that could be a big costly mistake then from Louis Hartley. Will have to push to catch back up. Then both the leaders in attack mode, but about to run out, I believe.
But again,
it's Eggert now.
Perikian has a little issue. He's now a second behind.
Yeah, Perikian. It looks like Eggert may have had a little issue. Yeah. So Eggert now to get about 11 seconds actually behind Juba. Yeah. So Juba makes it past Jack Giordano, who obeys the blue flags as he should. So hopefully no collusion. But now Gosh has got a run on Giordano into the first corner. And in fact, one of the TCS cars having a go. That must be Gibson. Or is it Prefett having a go at Gosh?
Steffel and Gray are back together.
Oh dear, the battle for 8th position then between Into the Points and 360 in the form of Steffel and Gray. And
near the track.
There we go. But meanwhile, Perikian still within about 1.3 of Eggert, and Hamilton closing on Cooper's now. So Cooper is going to have to put out all the stops. This has been a great performance from Bram Cooper's, isn't it, so far? Despite, I think Louis Hartley may have still be right behind Hamilton as well in attack mode. In fact, he's less than four attempts.
Here we go.
Here we go. Steffel side by side with Gray. And can Steffel get the inside of Gray? No, Gray holds him off then.
As Gray has the extra power. He's just
Gray just went into attack mode then. So another tactical decision by 360. And Steffel trying to get a good run out here, but he'll lose ground on the straight then.
Expecting fireworks.
Meanwhile, fireworks going on between Gibson, Prefett, Gosh, and they've all got past Jack Giordano then. So Giordano will be a bit annoyed, losing those positions. He's held that 14th for quite a while, and now Gibson and Prefett, the TCS twins, have taken it from him, and Gosh getting in the action too. Quite possibly, you never know, Jack Giordano. He might just be struggling with energy. He's not the best at energy management. And I sort of said, save about 5 or 6% more than everyone else, and you should be okay, Jack. That's my advice. Because I'm not really good with the energy calculator.
Gashi's had is it Gashi? I think Gashi went wide.
Yeah, oh dear. And he's dropped behind Conan and Larhopen.
Spin.
Oh dear, Eggert spins, and that is going to drop him down to 4th. So Perikian retakes second position. Yeah, Hamilton through then, as Cooper's now into 3rd, ahead of Hamilton. So Louis Hartley, Louis Hartley, that thing. Oh dear, Jack Giordano spins. So there we go. We know how he lost those positions now. That's one way of letting all the leaders through. Jack Giordano taking the gentleman's way out into the runoff, as now Eggert, frustrated with that spin, right back on the back of, is that Perikian he's challenging, or is that it's Hamilton then? So good old Eggert Hamilton duel approaching then. We saw a couple of those last season. About to see another play out here then.
Whoa,
Hartley really pushing to catch back up, and remember he's got Lua right behind him as well. So this is a very, very close battle, like a 5-way battle for second, it would seem. Although Perikian pulling away now, isn't he?
They're also coming up to the lap cars.
Yeah, so Perikian 1.7 ahead of Cooper's, and then it's basically less than a second separates all the cars behind up to Gray, I think. Up to and not including Gray, sadly. But wow. Pascal Eggert then. There's not too many attack modes left for these guys. I've sort of lost count at this point.
I think they've all got one left, I want to say. Maybe 2. Yeah.
I think Hamilton might have one more left than the others. We'll see. But he's closing on the 3rd place Bram Cooper's.
Yellow, it's Giordano.
Oh dear, Giordano is struggling to keep it pointed in a straight line then, so that James Juba set up as Juba is using his final attack mode.
Both take attack.
Oh, there we go. And where does that put them? That puts, he's still ahead of Pascal Eggert then, and Hartley does not lose out to Lure either, so the positions remain the same then. But surely this is Josh Hamilton's best chance to get back on the podium then. So this has been a very New York-like race then. Juba out front, Hamilton fighting through the field, even though New York got cancelled. So we just replicated it here in Marrakech with less disconnections, luckily. Only non-finisher so far, Peter Schoenemann. I think Dylan has actually caught up and passed Giordano for position now with all his spins.
As Gashi and Van Boosel have had a bit of a...
Yeah. Jerry Van Boosel had not the race he would have been hoping. His pace was pretty good in practice in the number 42, but Jerry Van Boosel really just been... Oh, and I guess we got our answer there. The steering looking very bent on that number 42 as well.
Not a great race either.
No, not really. He qualified all right, and then the championship leader coming into this round has just struggled, and he may not be the championship leader going out because
Kuipers are battling.
Here we go. So important for Josh Hamilton not to trip over Bram Coopers, but he's got the run. He sweeps around the outside as the two ahead. The lap cars go side by side through turn 3. Not sure quite how that one played out, but Josh Hamilton now on the podium. So Finn and Vond have really kind of played themselves out of the podium here, haven't they?
I won't comment on that one.
A lot of this ice cream left now. It was an interesting choice of dessert, but I didn't want to take a cheesecake upstairs with me. As Louis Hartley, cheesecakes for New York, and we're not in New York, of course. As now, looks like Gosh is that Cooper's.
Trying to get out of the way.
Gosh trying to get out of the way, and it creates an opportunity for Louis Hartley to maybe dive up the inside of Pascal Eggert, but he thinks better of that. As Josh Hamilton now starts to sprint away. Will there be team orders, do you think, between the two into the points Reds? 3.5 seconds between them, 14 minutes left in the race. Do you see it happening? I think Hamilton might catch him before the end, but I think Perickian might have just enough in hand to hold him off.
Well, as Perickian sets the fastest lap, so...
Well, that answers that then. But it's not really...
DNF.
Oh, no! Well, that was convenient for Josh Hamilton. Oh, dear. Could have been. Or a crash. Because he was going very quickly. He might have just lost it at the first corner there. He would have been going through the first corner at that time. Not quite sure what happened. We'll have to ask Oliver Perickian afterwards.
We've had to hit the ball very hard to DNF immediately.
But that's a big shame for Ollie Perickian. Oh, no, he's back in the race, it seems. So maybe a connection lost to the server from the timing screen. So definitely, I think it may have been a disconnect then from what I'm experienced, because the live race has just disconnected the live timing for me. So we'll have to go by what's on screen then, in pixelated fashion. So, all right, which pixel is Pascal Eggert then? Because that's who we're on board with at the moment.
Big orange one.
Yeah, well, he's got another orange one behind him as well, in the form of Louis Hartley, who's starting to fall into the clutches of Steffel, who was, is it Lewis, sorry?
Lewis, yeah.
I was just thinking, where's Steffel come back into this race? As a lapped car getting out of the way ahead of them? Yeah, that looks like one of the TCS cars of Gibson, I think. As now Eggert battling Coopers for that third position. He wants to get back on the podium here, and he's going to sweep around the outside into the final corner. That's going to be a risky move from Pascal Eggert, but he gets just about 2 wheels on track, and he's through. That was a brave move and a half, but Coopers will still be there on the outside behind him, and just about gets the braking into turn 1. So a committed move there from Pascal Eggert. Set it up really well there, and certainly Pascal will want that in the photo diary at the end of the season.
I'm sure I'll be watching back the stream to see that a few times.
But there we go. Pascal pulls it off. And now Hamilton with the gap to go into time. And Pascal loses it completely. Just as we were praising him, he let it get to his head. And he nearly hits the TCS racing car. And that goes around. So chaos at the back. And Pascal makes contact with the other TCS racing car as well. So Gibson and Preffert getting a face full of Pascal. More than they would like, I imagine. And that lets Gosh through into 13th position now. And Luca Gray. What's he doing back here? Gray's in. Has Gray got through for position, actually? Yeah, there we go. So I was just misunderstanding there. But all that extra power for Pascal backfiring on him, as we saw. And you think if there was an option to just not use attack mode, I think Pascal would probably have gone for that. So maybe Oliver Perickian had kind of the right idea before getting disconnected when he missed that attack mode. But anyway, now Josh Hamilton.
Ooh, that was very wide.
Big gap to James Juber, about 16, 17 seconds, I think. Possibly 18 seconds. Nearly a whole sector splitting them. And Coopers now has got to hold off Louis Hartley for that final podium slot. So now the Frinavon, the baton goes down to Hartley, doesn't it?
There's a wheel on the track that might have belonged to Mr. Perickian, I feel.
Quite possibly, yes. Or someone else has got into trouble. Possibly Giordamana in his attack mode has gone off again. No, he's still got all 4 wheels on. So Jack doing well by his standards.
There's the yellow flag again.
Oh, wonder what that's about. Could be a...
Van Boossel's retired.
Oh dear, so Van Boosel throws in the towel then, or is perhaps forced to throw in the towel after losing that wheel.
We need a big sticker on each wheel saying who it belongs to.
Exactly. Well, that's what they do. There's the initials of the driver. A bit hard to see with all this pixelation on mine. But Josh Hamilton not really gaining under attack mode. In fact, the gap on my screen going up to 20 seconds now that live races is reconnected. But as you say...
Nowhere at the minute.
Yeah, but that's probably what he'd expect on want to be. Cooper's about 3 seconds behind him, but holding off Hartley and Lure as well. Lure is back in this podium fight then. And in fact, Luca Gray isn't even out of it now that he's ahead of Eggert by at least half a second.
Steffel's had an issue. He's over 10 seconds behind Gray now.
Yeah, we're not going to see a Steffel Gray rematch around 3 then at Marrakech. But looks like Eggert will fancy taking up the mantle then for Steffel in his absence.
The gap between Coopers and Hartley is extended a bit. It's about over a second.
Is that 10 minutes left in the race now to go? So certainly, I should get something to say there. But Lure and Hartley still putting the pressure on Bram Coopers. Coopers full marks to him if he can hold on. He's sort of, admittedly, has been a bit of a good fortune there, but he's driven the socks off of that VMS red car, hasn't he?
He has, yeah.
In attack mode with Hartley to keep beat for beat with him, I think.
Talking the other day how he thinks he's the oldest driver on the grid, so...
Oh, how old is he? Like 43 or something?
Not quite that. I think maybe 30s, mid-30s.
Okay. Well, there's a driver older than me as a commentator, so that may... Most of the people here are like between 16 and 20, or in the case of, was it Louis Hesketh, who was like 13 or something like that. I didn't know before he drove for us. Now he's decided to defect to Iris almost instantly. But that's good. I've got no ill will towards Iris whatsoever. And Loic Mounier, good friends of ours, of course. And we got a new driver in already, Stan Gulvad for the British Touring Cars, who's another good friend of ours, as Eggert, right in the wheel tracks. And I assume we're seeing that because that's the closest battle, isn't it? Apart from
the front three of Paul
apart from Cooper's, Hartley, Lure, who seem to be splitting just a little bit, all 0.7 between 3 of them. There we go. So that will let Pascal Eggert through, but will Luca Gray be able to get the power down this time? Let's hope he doesn't spin at the hairpin again. But certainly Pascal now knows he needs to get the exit spot on out of these corners to hold on and defend from attack mode, as here we go. Luca Gray using that bit of experience now. He's not going to make the same mistake as before. Fingers crossed for the 360 Motorsport team. But Pascal will defend that 6th position as hard as he can, as it looks like Coopers and Hartley are about to run out of attack mode, and that's when things could get really interesting. We're going into the last 7 minutes. Energy running low for these teams. If you spin, you don't save energy, that's for sure, because you usually have all that extra power spinning. We're getting heavy on the throttle as we just see the tail end of the battle ahead of them, and here we go. Eggert up the inside of Luca Gray. Oh, and they hit! And he squeezes Luca Gray into the wall. That spins as well. That's disastrous from Pascal, and Luca Gray lucky to have all 4 wheels still on that car. That was a big squeeze there from Pascal. Unsighted. It was unsighted as well. I think Pascal just completely got that wrong there.
Is it crapping?
Yeah. It's the last corner where we saw that brilliant move on Cooper's, and now it's all come undone. Pascal's race with 2 big mistakes there. A bit of spin and 2 hits, and now another.
Both in attack mode.
Yeah, there we go. So Hartley, Piggy in the middle then, without attack mode, could be vulnerable to 10 Lure in this closing phase of the race. So here is Louis Hartley. He may watch Cooper's go off into the distance now, because he's not got another attack mode at his disposal. I think he's used all 4 at this point, Nick.
He has, yeah. So he's got to hold off Lure for the next 2 minutes.
Or hope that Coopers makes his error, because it seems everyone apart from Juba has done one so far.
21.5 seconds is the lead gap. Oof.
Yeah, so Josh Hamilton, as far as damage limitation goes, he's probably done about as well as he could have, but that will still be demoralizing though, the gap to Juba, because that's if you take away he was 13 seconds behind, so that's still like 7 seconds he's pulled out over the course of the race.
There's only 2 races to go after this as well, so there's not much time to be making up points.
Yeah, especially because of that lost New York round. So how many races is that? 4, did you say, or 3?
We've got 2 after this, I think. Santiago
2.
And Hong Kong.
It was a short season then. But here we go. Looks like Lure has got a little bit of a run on Louis Hartley as they come through turn 3. But Lure not quite close enough to complete the move. So Hartley holds on for another lap then.
What, Lure and Louis?
Yeah. Louis, and it's a good thing Louis Hesketh isn't here as well, because that'd be even more confusing.
That's got me many times, Louis H and Louis
And
H.
is that somebody else? That's looks like whoever behind the It's Eggert going into attack mode then to pull away from Luca Gray then. So Eggert
didn't quite get out of the overlap.
He wasn't quite far enough up the inside then, and I think Pascal Eggert may be in trouble with Luca Gray at the end of this one after that contact there, which was very heavy. Is Lua going to dive up the inside of the hairpin?
Set him up, try and get the switch back. He'll have a bit more power.
You hear that this is probably the best chance then for Ten Lua down the straight.
Ooh,
he pulls out to the inside. A little bit of a defense there, but doesn't look... Oh, he's got him. There we go. Round the outside. I got completely confused there. Louis Hartley is undone then. He won't be able to finish in the top 4 unless he can get back on song with Ten Lua. Lua goes a little bit wide out the final corner, but that extra power, he'll still have a little bit of it at his disposal. And now will Lua close and catch Bram Coopers then in the dying minutes of the race, just under 5 minutes to go.
It'll be nice to know the energy right about now.
The gap just under 2 seconds between Coopers and Hamilton. And Lua and Cooper. So Cooper's actually keeping Josh Hamilton quite honest. I wonder if Hamilton's used up a lot of energy earlier in the race.
His last attack mode now, so hopefully he's
got to use it now because you won't get a chance later, will you?
Yeah, use it in the pits.
But on the cooldown lap, yeah.
Pull in glowing halo.
Just to spin into the pit lane because we're not used to that power at low speed. Anyway, Louis Hartley now has just got to trail and hope. Hartley, 5th would still be a best finish yet. Nearly got a podium in Mexico, didn't he? He was fighting for that 4th position near the end and just lost it. Mexico was a brilliant race, wasn't it? This has provided some pretty good action too. It's not been far away from Mexico. All it's really lacked is that lead battle, hasn't it, with Juba. It needed Hamilton to qualify if he wanted to battle with Juba, didn't he?
The pace is quite similar, so it would have been It's a shame Sonneveld isn't racing as well.
Yeah, big shame for Sonneveld because that's 2 rounds missed. He's not going to get... He's lost his his sort of safety net in the championship now. It's really now, I think, between Juba and Hamilton, especially with Perikian losing that... Because he didn't do Berlin either, did Perikian. So Perikian is basically taking a big blow in the championship now.
Lapped.
Oh dear. Erstwhile championship leader, but not for much longer. I think Hamilton is about to take the championship lead then at the end of this one. But Juba... pulling away and certainly staking his claim. It's becoming a 2-horse race now in these final 2 rounds. If Juba can win both of them, then I think mathematically would Hamilton be able to hold on if he finished 2nd in both of them? I don't think so. We'd have to. The gap was about 20 points going into this one. It's going to be less than that coming out. It's going to be about 13, isn't it?
Yeah, Steffel and Gray are coming towards each other at a good rate of speed again. I think we've got... Where's it? 1 minute. We might get 3 laps, maybe 2 laps left.
Yeah, anyway, so the tension building then. Hartley now 0.2 behind Lua. Oh, getting very, very close. And it doesn't look like Cooper's is going to catch Hamilton, though. He's started to save a bit of energy. Here we go. So Lua might fancy a go if he can hold off Louis Hartley because they're both out of attack mode now. It looked like Steffel had a little moment, but chasing Luca Gray once again. We're going to get a last dash. Gray-Steffel battle with Gray nursing that damage inflicted on him by Pascal Eggert. Oh no, that's a big shame for Alban Gashi. So close to finishing and disconnected. I really hope we don't see this round discounted like New York was.
I don't think these haven't been.
Because that would be really taking the mickey out of James Juba winning both of those races.
These are fine. These aren't disconnects.
Anyway, a little celebration chomp of what's left of the ice cream that hasn't melted in front of this laptop. But Louis Hartley keeping Ten Lua honest, looking for that opening, any little opportunity to get through, and Lua knows he can't make any mistakes, and that could be what saves Coopers then. Juba, is he coming towards the last lap and 1.5 minutes to go?
He's got the opportunity to lift off and not do the next lap if he wants to.
Well, he tried to force an extra lap in New York and fell a couple of seconds short, I think. So I'm not going to be able to coach him as, Hartley right behind Lua had to think about diving up the inside of the hairpin.
Some people are going to be praying for it to not go the extra lap, and some people are going to be praying for it to go the extra lap.
Okay, so certainly Juba will be hoping to force Hamilton into trouble. Looks like that's Giordamano just catching up to Gashi and Dillon and passing him as well. So nothing to get too excited about as Louis Hartley starts what could be the final lap. Oh dear. So Luca Gray with that bent steering has just got to hold on somehow from Steffel, who we know what a ferocious competitor he is. He did recover back to 4th after that terrible first corner in Mexico, didn't he? 8th looks like the best that Steffel's going to manage here. So unless he can pass Gray somehow, but Gray will not want to give up easy.
Off.
Meanwhile, looks like Hartley is not giving up on Lua, snatching 4th place off of him either, but Steffel within 0.3 of Luca Gray, as you say. And looks like Juba with 12 seconds to go. He might be about to win the race then. Here we go. Through the last corner. No, it's going to be another lap then. He's just forced it. Just with like 2 seconds to spare. Here comes Michael Steffel. Oh, he's going to try and force it around the outside. I thought he was going to cut the chicane there. But Steffel forced the back out there. And energy dangerously low for a lot of these drivers. It's lucky dip now. Who's going to run out? Steffel goes to the inside and Gray can do nothing to defend. He backs well off.
Lifting.
There we go. And Gray cuts the corner completely there to try and shorten the race ever so little as he can. Lua holding off Hartley, and as that Cooper's ahead of them. Let's keep an eye on Josh Hamilton as well. Make sure he doesn't run out. Hamilton, Cooper's now within 2 seconds of him now. So I don't think Josh Hamilton expected that final lap, and there might be a few others. There we go. Luca Gray caught back up to Steffel, surprisingly, 0.4. So Steffel might have not realised they were going an extra lap now. Louis Hartley still 0.8 behind 10 Lua.
The checkered flag man is there, but the race is not ended.
Yeah, there we go. Big confusion reigning then. But James Juba now going through the last 2 corners as we see is that Jack Giordano desperately trying to get back in front of the TCS car. It's Dylan. Oh, Dylan, a great recovery then, but he's gonna get another lap to do it then, because here comes James Juba behind them. As Lua is passed by Louis Hartley on the final lap, but it's too late. James Juba wins the Marrakech E-prix for Hunter Birch Simulation. Oh, what a fabulous drive it was by the Brit. He was denied in New York getting the points, but here he gets the full assortment, 30 points to James Juba. And now, crossing the line will be Josh Hamilton, 16 or 20 seconds nearly in arrears, ahead of Bram Coopers in 3rd. But it's Hartley who will just hold on to 4th position then from Lua with a brilliant last gasp overtake there on the final lap.
I think Lua's not got any energy left.
Yeah, Lua will have to lift and coast over the line and hope that he has not run out. Then it will be Eggert from Steffel and Gray. Nick Conan only 1.6 behind Luca Gray. Luca Gray's really dropped off on this final lap then. He's lifting and coasting everywhere. These sector times do not look good. Here comes Nick Conan then on the back straight. Is he going to catch Luca Gray in these final 2 corners for 8th position to add insult to injury for the 360 Motorsport driver? Gray with steering bent, the energy, just getting the last little bit out of the juice box that he can. But Nick Conan pushing him all the way to the line. It's not going to be enough for the Finabon driver. It is! Nick Conan gets him on the line. Wow! And that persistency paying off there. So unlucky for Luca Gray. He held on as long as he could, and Nick Conan will be delighted with that in contrast. What a finish.
Catch your breath.
Here we go. I'll have a bit of ice cream to celebrate.
Not going to make it.
Oh dear, Tom Dillon. Well, I guess he had to try, didn't he?
Well, he's still got some energy.
He has some points for 13th, it looks like.
He's trying to coast it in.
He's still quite a way ahead of Jordan Mann, who's in the pit lane, a lap down behind him.
Yeah, he's still trying to coast it in. Is he going to make it?
A comical finish in for the sister, for the teammate of the winner.
No,
but he's going to finish.
Don't put it in gear. Keep it in neutral, Tom.
Oh, here we go. Just the final corner to go. And this is what happens when you lose a wheel, ladies and gents, and have to pit for a new one.
Put it in neutral. Put it in neutral.
Tom Dillon coasting. Will he have enough in hand to finish in 13th position? He's the last man over the line. Tom Dillon, it's slowing. He's losing. We're down to 2 miles per hour now, I think.
Put it in neutral.
Come on, you could do it. Eat the last little bits out of that battery. Squeeze that battery. Come on, Tom. He's covered 90%, so I think he's going to be a classified finisher either way.
He's not actually going to lose any positions because Jordan Mann was a lap down.
Oh, there we go. So Tom Dillon stops agonizingly short of the timing beam for the start-finish line, but he was still finishing 13th. So there we go. That's the race, ladies and gents. Shall we hear from James Juba and Tom Dillon then? In a minute, but let's go through the finishing order then. James Juba victorious from his championship rival Joshua Hamilton, and by a long way too. Almost 30 seconds there, I think, in the end. He's showing 5.8, so I think that may be a little bit of timing irregularity there.
Was the gap.
26 seconds then. Cooper's about 6 seconds behind Josh Hamilton. Then it's Louis Hartley in fourth with that late overtake on Tenlua. Brilliant stuff from Louis Hartley and Tenlua actually all race, but Cooper's beaten them both to third on the podium. Pascal Leggett disappointed perhaps was sixth, but he held off Michael Steffel and Nick Conan, making that last-minute overtake on Luca Gray. So unlucky for the 360 Motorsport driver. He'll not be happy with Pascal Leggett, I'm sure. Lahoven rounds out the top 10 then, and then it's Stefan Goscht in 11th, Garrett Gibson in 12th, Tom Dillon 13th somehow ahead of Errol Priffett. Then it'll be Jack Giordamano, I believe. Alban Gashi 16th, failed to finish near the end. I think Gashi might have got 90% in there. We'll have to see. But certainly Van Boosel, Parikian and Schumann will get no points at all from this round. And I think they are definite retirements then. I think Gashi was about three laps down in the end.
Classified. I'm not sure on that one.
And Boosel, I think, was about a lap down on him. So I think Van Boosel will miss out by a lap or so. But certainly unlucky there. Let's see if we can get some interviews in now, Nick, shall we? With the winner and his teammate. Let's just drag him in because there's no time to waste, is there? We are now joined by the Hunter Burt simulation crew of James Juba, number 18, and Tom Dillon, number 72. Juba, of course, having just won the race, of course. Brilliant. So, James, after not being able to get the points in New York, you finally pulled it off, and it was a very, very convincing win, it must be said.
Yes, yeah, that was good. That was made up for New York with the lack of points there, but... Yeah, I don't know if Oliver will get fastest lap or not because he did DNF before the end, so might have missed out on 2 points there, but...
We'll have to see what the rules say.
Yes.
But otherwise, it's going to you, I guess. But a crucial point that could make all the difference in the championship. And certainly, were you annoyed to see Joshua Hamilton recover to second, or did you think, all right, I can put the biggest gap I can on him to demoralise him?
No, I'm not too worried. I can only focus what I can control, so I just did what I could out there.
Correct answer. That was me testing you as team manager.
I can confirm the fastest lap gives 2 points regardless of finishing position, including a DNF.
So it's not like real Formula E where you have to finish in the top 10.
Yeah,
but nevertheless,
that's annoying to miss out on 2 points for 200s.
Is it 2 points or is it one? I think it's
it's 2 points. Yeah.
Well, I guess Oliver still gonna desperately hold on to that championship league, hopes of championship glory, but I'm sure he would much rather have finished than just get the consolation points for fastest lap. But anyway, certainly 2 races left to go, I think, in terms of points paying around, sadly. So there's not quite enough. I think finishing, beating Josh Hamilton means how many points would James gain, Nick? Between first and second?
So first and second, first is 60 points, second is 56 points.
4 points gained. It was about 20 behind, so I believe it's about a 16-point gap then. Do you reckon that's bridgeable, James? Or do you think it's just do your best and hope for the best, I guess?
I think it would be tough, because if he finishes second, only 12 points available, so...
If I win and
get fastest lap, yeah, only gain 6 points over him.
Well, we'll need Josh to miss more qualifying sessions and have a bit more bad luck, won't we? He was trying to do that House Sonneveld at Punta del Este last year, wasn't he? But anyway, congratulations, James. Oh, sorry, a bit of ice cream in my mouth there. Celebratory ice cream, Punta Burt simulation. But brilliant drive, and we'll see you in action again at the next round, which is... That's not you. Santiago, of course. Chile. I should look at the actual stream once in a while. That might help. But yeah, Chile, great track there. You looking forward to it, James? You think you'll be quick there too? Lots of fast chicanes there at Santiago.
Yes, I think I've won there before as well. So.
Oh, well, there we go. Even more reason for optimism.
Yeah, hopefully I can repeat that there. So, yeah, although I think the track layout's changed since we were last there.
Of course, yeah. Few similarities, though.
Yes, most of the track's the same, but yeah.
But anyway, a brilliant drive and certainly puts Hunter Burt simulation season back on track. So thanks for that, James. Really appreciate it.
Yes, hopefully Pascal's feeling nice and he can just reinstate New York points before the end of the season. That'd be nice.
I did try my best to protest, but he was like, my mind's made up, so and we can't... Well, I tried to reschedule, but not reinstate. But anyway, Tom Dillon, I know Josh Hamilton finished second. Shall we talk to Josh first and then go to Tom, if that's okay, Tom?
That's okay.
Okay, Josh Hamilton now, driver of Into the Points number 1. finished in second, of course, so not quite matching up with the number on the car this time. But Josh, it was certainly a great recovery drive from going from the very back to second position. Lots of drama. You got to see quite a lot of incidents in front of you that you were able to avoid. Luckily for you. Talk us through it. Sounds like quite a ride. I'm sure your stream will be quite fun to watch back.
Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty good race. I might forget to sign up more often, to be honest with you. That was.
I said it reminded me of Sonneveld in Punta del Este, where you just held off at the end there. Except James is a bit further ahead this time.
Yeah, a bit like that, but I had to battle my team. Anyway, yeah, there was a lot of incidents. I got caught up in some of the messing about, I have to admit. I got into a little bit of somebody unsafely rejoined in front of me. That damaged my car a bit, but that ain't going to stop me. But yeah, to be honest, this race, at the end of the day, I reckon second, even if we did qualify, would have been best case scenario, because gauging race pace, even when I was in free air against James, who was leading, he was pulling away still. He's a really quick driver. He's fantastic. So even if best case scenario, we were 1-2 in the grid, I feel like he still would have come out on top.
But you're glad you have that points buffer, courtesy of James's retirement in London and Michael Steffel delaying him somewhat in Mexico. And your old mate house as well, pitching in.
Yeah, it definitely helps. I gotta say, there's much less pressure.
A little bit of bias in that question, but
oh yeah, of course.
I should let Nick ask a few if he feels like it. But certainly going into Santiago and Hong Kong, you must be feeling confident that you can get a few more podiums that you'll need. Second in both races would probably do it for you, but I was wondering at a point, is there going to be team orders between you and Oliver? And then Oliver, I think, crashed out or had a disconnection.
No, basically what happened to Ollie, he was already a bit time constricted.
Oh, right.
And also, we realised a few laps into the race, he hadn't got his attack mode bound, so we calculated he was going to lose about 2 minutes from penalties because of that. So there was no point in continuing.
He didn't have a button.
No,
set on the wheel.
He had all his buttons set up for stock car racing. Which
of course, he's been doing that as well.
Well, you can mistake this for stock car racing.
Oh, yeah.
It's the same guy doing highlights on the stock cars and commentate on this.
Depends who you're racing against. But so there was no point in Oliver continuing, unfortunately. But team orders wise, I don't know. I guess we'll just see what happens.
I should drag Oliver in for an interview as well, maybe.
Oh no, he's not here.
Oh, okay.
He's not here. His PC's just still.
As is everyone else, because I've been so cool. I've been talking to my own team and reveling my own victory that everyone else has said, right, we'll go off. Bram Cooper's like, don't even want to celebrate my podium. But anyway, certainly some entertainment there, and I wonder if Pascal is around anywhere. It'd be great to talk to him. No. Pascal sounded very annoyed by the sounds of things about how his race went. I think Luca Gray was annoyed with him too, because he squeezed Luca Gray into the wall at one point after spinning. But certainly all that extra attack mode, by the way, really seemed hard to handle. You seem to be one of the ones that handled it better than some of the people around you were fighting with, Joshua.
Yeah, and I'm starting to get good with the attack modes, I feel like.
Only now, after winning a championship, it's like,
I feel, and honestly, I feel like only this season I'm actually getting to grip with the car. I felt like last season I was fighting it a lot more, and I just really didn't understand it, but this season I'm starting to get to grips with it a lot more, which is fantastic. It's better late than never. But
so,
yeah.
You don't take as long to get used to the Gen 3 car if it's no rear brakes and the double powertrains.
We'll have to see with that. But with the attack mode, it's kind of what the strategy is I'd sit behind for a little bit, see what they did. A lot of the time they took attack modes to try and get away or push up the field because it was a bit of a train. And then as soon as they were either at the end of the attack mode or on the last lap of their attack mode, I'd just sneak into mine. And I was managing to keep quite good speed compared to other people going into the attack modes. So I was losing about 4/10 from it, which I was usually be able to get the buffer in sector 3, get a 4/10 buffer, go get the attack mode, and just manage it from there.
Well, congratulations, Josh Hamilton, on your second place. And we look forward to you resuming that fight with James Juba then in the next round in Santiago on the 9th of November. But before we go, shall we have a word with the other Hunter Boat Simulation driver, Tom Dillon, who finished 13th, was the last man over the line. A very dramatic end to the race, but perhaps not the one that Tommy Boy would have been hoping for. Oh, sorry, James.
I hate to throw Tom under the bus here, but he didn't actually cross the line here. He got to see the line, but
yeah. Well, he got more than 90% distance, so and the others are a lap down, so I think he'll still be classified 13th and get the points for it.
Well, I hope
he
so.
will.
But I feel like a teacher here, like Thomas. I'm very disappointed in you.
Well, my crew chief said it was the final lap, and so I did my final lap.
So James, going that extra lap screwed you over somewhat.
I was no, well, it was completely my fault. But crew chief said final lap. I thought it was final lap. I pushed every bit of energy I had to catch up to Garrett, and well, I did. I almost passed him. I thought it was a photo finish. Then I didn't see the checker flag, and I had to try and do a lap on 0.7% worth of energy, which was interesting.
It certainly was interesting. I wouldn't say it was particularly speedy, but certainly it provided some entertainment. What happened earlier in the race with the collision? Did you just hit the last corner?
Yeah, I just hit the wall, and well, it was a little bit frustrating, but from there it was catchable. And to be honest with you, I think from 19th to get back up to 13th, even if everyone else did DNF, it gives a little bit of reward for what would otherwise a pretty frustrating race.
Josh Hamilton, watch out! The mother of all comebacks from Tom Dillon. It's like, you think missing qualifying is big, or about losing the wheel and putting it back on in the pits?
Oh wow!
To be fair, we did remember the season 4 finale where the two of the 3 championship contenders, Norbert Brecker and Pascal Eggert, just kept losing wheels here, and Michael Koch won the championship despite not showing up because the other 2 just blew it basically. But that went to put 2 final on. I think Brecker's not around anymore, and I'm sure Pascal has had another bad day at Marrakech, so I'm sure he wouldn't want to be reminded of that. But certainly Pascal did have some highlights. Certainly that move around the outside of Cooper's was spectacular. But anyway, Tom, after the qualifying went a little bit better here, didn't it? Was it 12th on the grid or 13th?
I think so. It was a frustrating
so you
qualifying.
finished about where you started.
Yeah, it was a frustrating qualifying. I didn't quite get a lap together. Really scruffy.
But how are you feeling about Santiago and Hong Kong ahead of you?
I know Hong Kong a little bit. I'm quite a fan of that. So it's a decent track. And then Santiago, again, I quite like the Santiago track. So I'm hoping it's much better rounds. Hopefully not another, but hopefully I can get a top 5 at some point this season. I think that's the goal.
Speaking of better time, last time we raced at Santiago back in season 4, guess who the winner was? It was Pascal Eggert, which is why I was mentioning him just a few seconds ago. But and I decided, instead of linking into that, I decided to try and do a question to Tom. Okay. So I sort of got the order backwards there. But anyway, that was my mistake. But it's the ice cream getting to my head. But anyway, as the ice cream completely melts, not because of the Marrakech heat, but because of my laptop. That's pretty much all we got time for. So thanks very much for talking to us, guys. Thank you to Nick for directing the broadcast as well. And thanks to Pascal, everyone at EERC. But also, most of all, let's not forget, thanks to you for watching. And we'll see you for Formula E action on the 9th of November at Santiago in Chile. But if you can't wait that long, well, we got some more excitement for you in EERC British Touring Cars, which the next round for that will be Nutstorp on the... It'll be the 3rd of November, yes. So that would be next Thursday, of course. Not tomorrow, but the week after. So in just over a week's time, we'll be back. And then in the week after, we'll be back for Formula E. So that's a sort of touring car Formula E interchange for me and the ERC commentary team. But certainly enjoyed commentating with you on that one, Nick. Any thoughts ahead of Santiago? You've driven there before.
I can't remember it.
Well, you did the old version anyway, so maybe it doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, it's all chill.
It's all relative anyway. But certainly looking forward to covering that one with you, and hopefully I won't be so in a rush to start before qualifying, and we'll hopefully be able to get...
The stream PC works.
But anyway, held up well during the race, so I hope that people at home enjoyed it. Anyway, that's enough rambling. So James Juba, the winner in Marrakech, taking the fight to James Juba in the championship battle. It's going to heat up even more if you thought that were possible in Santiago We go there next for the penultimate round of the championship, and it's still a 2-horse race. It could go either way between the two.